Hello, and welcome to another episode of Brainwork. Today, we're going to be talking about how to escape the matrix. And what I mean by the matrix is this world that we live in, all of these societal standards, these expectations, people telling us what we should be doing, what we shouldn't be doing, how we should be living our lives. And usually it's not in our best interest, right? There's this expectation of how everybody should be living their life, of going to school, getting a degree, and then going off and getting a job, usually a job that they don't enjoy and they're not passionate about, and then saving up just enough so that you can retire, and then you go ahead and die. And that's your life. That's what you're supposed to want. And there are so many examples out there of people who achieved all the things that they were supposed to do, and then they were miserable still. Because everything that you're looking for is actually within you. The changes that you need to make are within you. It's not in this external world. So nobody can tell you what you should be doing and how that is what is going to make you happy, because they don't know you. They don't know you, and they don't know your higher self and what's best for you. So, with this episode, I do just want to say up front that it's going to be a bit more spiritual. I'm going to be talking a lot about energy because everything is energy. And of course, everything that I mentioned, there's a lot of scientific research to support it as well. And so, of course, if you are interested in any one of them, I'm going to be talking about 4 things. If you're interested in any one of them, maybe trying them out, you can, of course, look into them, look into the scientific studies and how it's going to benefit you if you aren't somebody who is spiritual. But the first one that I'm going to go ahead and start with is veganism. So right away, I know there's people listening who eat meat who are clicking out right now, and just wait and listen to what I have to say about veganism, okay? First of all, you don't have to become vegan overnight. Okay? You don't have to do it overnight. You can take 5 years if you want. As long as you're making progress, that's all that matters. As long as you're growing and becoming better, that's all that matters. So, in terms of energy, you have to realize everything is energy. So, food is energy. It's energy that you're putting into your body, right? So, you have the option of either putting in the energy of dead flesh or of nutritional plant-based foods. So right away, it's pretty obvious what you should probably go with, or at least try to move towards. But think about it like this. When you're eating animals, these animals, they are abused, they're mutilated, just horrible things happen to them, and when they're dying, they release stress hormones. And then they go ahead and package that and they give it to you, and it's on your plate now. And you're not only eating the animal, you're also eating the stress hormones, the energy that it has, and you're putting that into your body. And one thing that we know is so many people are so stressed nowadays. And one of the reasons is because it's not just their stress that they're carrying around, they're also carrying around all the stress of all of these animals that they're eating. And as we know, our diets have become more and more meat based. And so there's more and more of this stress that we're consuming. And so food is energy, and you have the option of either eating animals if you want. Of course, you can get into the other reasons behind why you should be a vegan, right? Yes, you're harming animals. Yes, it's worse for your health. And yes, there is the environmental impact. But I know what worked for me, because I'd wanted to become at least a vegetarian for 5, 8 years now. And it was so hard for me. And it wasn't until I became spiritual and I was able to see the energetic perspective of how putting this into my body is keeping me at a lower vibration. And that is what made me say, you know what? I just can't do it anymore. And once you start moving towards a more plant-based diet, you'll notice how you have more energy naturally. You can eat food and you actually feel good and energized after, instead of feeling like taking a nap, right? And then going and taking a 20-minute nap and then feeling horrible when you wake up. It's actually going to give you good energy and make you feel better throughout the day. Now, the second thing is social media. And I know this is something people talk about all the time. And I'm not here to say that you need to delete all of your social media and you're not allowed to use it anymore. Because when used correctly, social media is so incredibly powerful and you can use it to your advantage. But that's the key, right? You have to use it to your advantage and you have to use it. But social media uses so many people and they're not aware of how much it takes from them. If you are somebody who wakes up in the morning and the first thing you do is check your phone, you're already not in the present moment. You're replying to text, you're checking, Facebook, Instagram, and you're suddenly looking at other people's lives. You're now living for other people and you're giving them your energy. You just woke up and you haven't even given yourself any energy. What are you doing? And even if you're doing this throughout the day and you're not being mindful about how much you're consuming and the thoughts that are crossing your mind as you're scrolling through these people's pictures, because it happens, right? You see somebody, they're so attractive and you're like, oh, look at their life, look at their partner, look at all the money they have. And it only shows you what you're lacking. And so many of us already live in this state of lack. And then we go on social media and it just reinforces that, yep, that's true. You're not good enough. There's so many things that you don't have that other people have. And it makes you feel just worse about yourself. So yes, you can use social media, but you need to become more aware of it. You want to set limits of how much you use it. Maybe using it right in the morning or right before you go to sleep isn't a good idea. And if you are following any accounts that make you feel bad, then stop following them. Stop following them. It's that simple. Just click the button. Now, the third thing I want to talk about is toxic or low vibrational people that you have in your life. Maybe it's family members, maybe it's friends, your partner, and you have to realize that unless you work on this and you work on protecting your energy, it is really easy for our energies to get intertwined with other people's energies, especially when you're close with somebody. And I'm sure all of you can relate to this, right? Think of a time when you were hanging out with a friend and maybe they weren't feeling that great and they were sad, and you could just being around them was making you feel sad. And of course, it's because you love them and you want them to be happy, but it's because their energy was low and it was bringing you down. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't be around sad people and you shouldn't support your friends. Of course you should if they are good, loving people. But if you're around people who are constantly negative, they're always complaining, they're focusing on all the things they don't have in their life, then maybe it would be better if you distanced yourself from them. And it's not always easy. I know that maybe it's family members, maybe it's people you're really close with, and it's not something you can do overnight, but you need to at least be taking some steps to be protecting your peace of mind towards them. Maybe you're going to be meditating. Maybe you're going to set boundaries when you're around them. Maybe you're going to limit the time that you spend with them. You don't want to spend hours and hours around somebody who is only going to take and take and take from you. And after spending time with them, you're going to feel horrible. Why would you do that to yourself? So I know it's not easy to cut these people off, but you have to at least be taking steps to distancing yourself so that you can protect your peace of mind and you can take care of yourself. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is meditation. And I know this is really hard for some people. And if it's hard for you, that is exactly why you should be doing it. So our thoughts create our reality. Okay, our thoughts are incredibly powerful. And there's this misconception with meditation that people think the reason you meditate is so that your mind is empty, so that you walk around and you have no thoughts. That's not possible. That's not how the human brain works. The purpose of meditation is to control your thoughts. Now think about that. If your thoughts create your reality, right? And you are able to control your thoughts, how powerful is that? Because now that means you're controlling your thoughts, so you're controlling your reality. And how many people, this was the 2 episodes ago, I posted about the different levels of consciousness. And this is the first level of consciousness when people aren't controlling their thoughts and they live in this state of victimhood. They think life is happening to me, nothing is in my control, and they just play the role of the victim. They always have a story. There's always something to complain about, something outside of their control that's making their life so horrible. And so by meditating and becoming more self-aware, you're able to change your reality. You're able to change all the things around you. And of course, this takes time. It takes time to change your thoughts and to turn them into what you want them to be. But you have to consciously make these changes, transform your thoughts so that it can then sink into your subconscious and it becomes a habit, right? So with meditation, you're able to do this. And yes, it's going to be hard in the beginning, but that's more reason to continue to do it, because each time you do it, it's going to get a little easier, a little bit easier. And a lot of people think every time they have a thought, if they're trying to focus on their breath, but they have a thought, then they failed and they should just stop. They can't meditate. No, every time you have a thought, what you want to do is redirect your attention back to your breath. And maybe you'll get lost in that thought for a minute. That's okay. Just redirect your attention back to this moment. And maybe the next time it'll take you 55 seconds to bring your thought back. And then maybe a month later, it takes you 30 seconds. And some days are going to be easier than others, but the least that you have to do is at least give it a try. Yes, it's hard, but I can tell you from personal experience, it is so worth it. That is the one thing that I recommend. Whatever your problems are, meditate. Whatever your problems are, meditate, because you're going to control your thoughts. And life is simply a manifestation of where you focus your energy. If you're able to focus your mental energy, you can live the life that you want. You can have all the things that you ever dreamed of. And maybe the things you're not even dreaming of right now, because you're not aware of how phenomenal you are and you're not connected to your higher self. So just to recap, the 4 things that I mentioned to escape the matrix is veganism, social media, distancing yourself from low vibrational people, and meditating. So your brain work for this episode is, I want you to actually think about all of these 4 different ideas that I brought up. And I want you to think if you are already practicing them, or maybe if you could make some improvements. And again, you don't have to become vegan overnight. You don't have to cut out every negative person right away. But what steps can you make to get a little bit closer to these goals? And maybe these aren't the goals that you have, but whatever goal that you have to create more peace of mind, more love, and escape this matrix, what are some small steps that you can make, maybe starting today, that will get you even closer to that goal? So let me know what you guys reflected on. Make sure you rate and review. I appreciate all of you so much, and I'll catch you next time.